graduate of Spring Valley High School, 2019. She's also a graduate of Clemson University, class of 2024. She has a bachelor's of science degree in biology, and she is currently employed with Prisma Health. And those are her earthly accomplishments. More importantly than that, she is a beautiful person, inside and out. Inside and out. She has a quiet, gentle spirit, but I can imagine with her being the oldest, she does have to tell Cameron and Atira, kind of put them in their place from time to time. But I still see her doing that with a gentle spirit. When I see Ikia, I think of the Proverbs 31 woman. And even though she is not yet married, I just see how she walks in such grace, in such poise. The way she carries herself and her laughter when she laughs is just such a joy to see her laugh and to see all that God has done in her life. And so I am so pleased, so very pleased that she accepted our invitation to come and speak to our youth. So let us, Mr. Morgan, will you escort your lovely daughter up? Because she is the fourth generation good newser. She is the great-granddaughter of Sister Dorothy Smith, the granddaughter of Sister Claudette Walker, the daughter of Mr. Derek and Katrina Morgan. And so let us stand and welcome Ikia Morgan.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon now. For those of you that do not know, I am a planner. I am very uncomfortable in situations in which I do not have the opportunity to make a plan or accommodations. This particular attribute typically serves me well. However, today I believe that it was important to listen to the Lord's instruction on what to say to you all. I stand here trusting God to give me something valuable to say, because this has truly been an exercise of my faith, as his timing was not in alignment with my timing. At the beginning of the year, I asked the Lord to make me a sophisticated, God-fearing woman. And so, Ms. Hilda, I really appreciated the compliments. That those from afar may see a heart that resembles his own, that by the grace and faith I lead an example of his undeserving favor and carry myself as his sheep. My story is very interesting, which is why I dedicated the last year of earning my bachelor's to undeserving favor, because I felt that God continued to keep me despite not earning being kept. Last year's Youth Sunday, Ms. Tiona shared a story of Jeremiah in relation to the plans in which God has ordained over our lives. I am cut from a cloth of amazing public speakers. However, that is not one of my attributes. So, despite praying to God that I would become all those things, I was very distressed when Ms. Hilda offered me the opportunity to speak, because I am still a youth, but my obedience was immediate. So as I prepared for this opportunity, I began to consider some of the things I struggled with in my walk of Christ, one of which does happen to be my calling, because I felt like none of the signs were there. My mother was a social worker, my dad an educator, and again, public speakers, don't have that personality. But Matthew chapter 5, verse 16 reminds us that to let our light shine before others so they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Placing a light underneath a bowl would extinguish the light, as fire requires both fuel, heat, and oxygen. similar to our human anatomy. That is the intention of God's work. As we are light, it is God's desire for us to stand on top of the hill and not be hidden, to boast proudly the gifts and blessings he has given us. God's will is sovereign. This means that it cannot be defeated. Therefore, have hope in his ordinances. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, but give you a hope and a future. The kindness of the Lord is unfathomable. By his grace, he will keep you even when you don't want it, because the plans he ordained for you are just that important. So fear not. In Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 to 30, Jesus shares the story of a man whose field of good seed was spoiled by seeds of weed, a plant that grows in competition with and affects the harvest and integrity of wheat. But instead of uprooting the weeds, the man decided to let the weed and wheat grow together until harvest. This parable is intended to represent the last days, as evildoers will perish in the fire, similar to the weeds after harvest. However, my interpretation is that the things promised by God will not fail, as well as the importance of counsel. So youth, as you seek the promises of God, ask for instruction and direction, not only in prayer, but with your families and elders. And the multitude of counselors' plans are established. My dad would be the first to tell you that I am hard-headed, which I do not agree with. You would have to ask my grandma. I think that she thinks I'm the best thing in the world. Instead, trust and lean onto the Lord to exercise your faith. Earlier this month, Pastor Edwin shared a story of a young lady with a tough decision to make in regards to her life. During my personal reflection, I had to ask myself how that message applied to me and whether or not it was applicable. I came to the conclusion that faith requires practice, suffering, and being uncomfortable. Similar to exercising muscle, you may experience soreness, sometimes pain, but it is temporary. With time, an Epsom salt bath, perhaps a leave, your discomfort is alleviated, and the result of your hard work and diligence is strength. Again, every detail is intentional. Therefore, take joy in each uncomfortable task because it validates the presence of the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him. He shall direct your path. Luke 11, verse 5 through 8 is an invitation to be audacious, believe boldly and with confidence. Give God the opportunity to cook. The promise of the Lord is not ease but victory. Then Jesus said to them, suppose you have a friend, and you go to him at midnight and say, friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread. A friend of mine on a journey has come to me, and I have no food to offer him. And suppose the one inside answers, don't bother me, the door is already locked, and my children and I are in bed. I cannot get up and give you anything. I tell you, even though he will not get up and give you bread because of friendship, yet because of your shameless audacity, he will surely get up and give you as much as you need. Have any of you ever asked your parents for something that you knew in your heart they wanted you to have, but they had to give you a hard time about it first? They just cannot help themselves. Sure, my bet might not have been made and the chicken was still in the freezer, but I am just a kid. I'm going to make mistakes, as we are the children of God. My mama's personal favorite was, I'll think about it, which more than 99% of the time indicated yes. She wanted the opportunity to complain about something first, though. She had to take it. But her second response was, ask you daddy. That came with a lot more risk. Nonetheless, both my fathers, here and in heaven, delight in providing me with the desires of my heart. God rewards audacious faith. Boldness and courage gives him the opportunity to prove that he is who he was and will always be. It is then our responsibility as believers to acknowledge him. In my parents' home, I was rewarded and encouraged to ask for the things I have no business asking for, because the worst thing they can say is no. More times than not, a no from the Lord is divine intervention. So, what audacious requests are you going to ask God for? There is nothing you cannot accomplish, and he is excited to make a wonder of your life. You might not see it because no eyes have seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him. But all things are possible with the favor of God. Therefore, do not lose sight of his promises over your life.